Hello, everybody. This is Frank with South Florida Conservative News Center. Happy Friday, October 31st. All the dead people will be wandering my neighborhood, breaking shit. Oh, no, that's later. That's after 8 o'clock. The young kids will be there earlier, and it'll be a joy. And then around 8, the 20-year-olds will show up in their black outfits to teach us all a lesson, because that's how things are in South Florida. And we are going to talk about two things: the fever dream slash jerk off sessions that are occurring in the socialist headquarters pertaining to things that will occur in the following week or so. Number one, tomorrow is November 1st. November 1st has become designated Beat the Shit Out of Walmart Day. For whatever sin Walmart has transgressed against the socialists, if you've watched any videos with various urban influencers, Walmart will feel the fury when there are no SNAP benefits available tomorrow. If you go to the federal website, SNAP benefits will not be renewed. However, if you already have some remaining on your EBT card, they will work. But I doubt anybody has any left on their EBT card, because that's not how the benefits are spent. They're spent in the first week or two on steak and shrimp and things like that. And very few people are conscientious. Secondly, November 5th, and this is from all the usual socialist people, but the ball carrier this time is another fake group called Refuse Fascism. It's also available on the Action Network. I'm reading it here. And they intend to bring millions of people to Washington, encircle the Capitol, and remove Donald Trump from office nonviolently. Somehow, nonviolently, he's going to leave his office and not return. That is the most insane thing you've ever heard, unless you take the word nonviolent out of it, in which case it is another call for insurrection. Those of you who are aware, people that now threaten to murder the president, if you're in the right city, will be let go from court. Courts are just saying violent threats of death against the president, or even against figures you don't like, are okay. A-okay. Let it be done. So we are really getting down to, as we say in the industry, fuck or fight, and it's coming rather soon. But you see the progression. If they had what they wanted tomorrow, and this is what cracks me up when everybody that's a socialist is telling you how racist everybody else is. The use of the poor, or the thought that the poor will immediately go out and rape and murder and loot, given any chance at all to do so, is a very racist thought in and of itself. If you're saying, I can't trust the black people any further than I can throw them, because we've seen from videos that they go nuts and rob all the stores and shit like that, well, those are cherry-picked videos. I'm sure that isn't happening right now as I'm speaking, unlike what Nick Fuentes will tell you, because everybody in general has a couple of bad moments, and there are also a couple of good moments. All right. Same with the Spanish. Well, the Asians don't ever do anything bad, but in general, this is what's going on. And we know what goes on in England, but we haven't had it happen here yet. So we can't blame those people. The idea being they will whip up the blacks. This is from their own paperwork. So don't get upset with me, black people. They will whip up the poor blacks. They will go crazy in the Walmarts, looting and pillaging, because they don't have their SNAP benefits, which have been denied to them by the Democrats. Don't listen to anything Cory Booker tells you. He has had too many D's to his head for anything useful to come out of that mouth. All right. And idea being, of course, emergency services, the police, this and that and the other thing. And all the meantime, if you've followed anybody else, I prefer you look at S2 Underground. The attack level against electric facilities, things like that, communications facilities, has been on the increase. Now, let's start rioting tomorrow at the Walmart, and maybe I can knock the power out, or maybe I can knock the internet out, or maybe I can knock the telephones out in the same area that this is going on. Now it's going to spread because I also have actors in the area. I remember watching videos in Philadelphia way back when of people who I knew were not from Philadelphia. We're going around with those small hammers and breaking the plate glass, and then of course the other people would go in and loot, but they didn't break the glass. And somebody else had to break it. It was a weird thing to watch. It was a weird dynamic, but it happened that way. Okay. Go and get me the psychologist and explain what the situation was. But once the window is broken, the building's fair game. So you're going to have, if they had their way, the inner cities of majority of the cities in the United States would already be in flames Monday or Tuesday. On the 5th, they would have the rest of their surrogate communist army in Washington acting up because there wouldn't be enough police to handle them, which they're wrong. But maybe they're going to bring their armed cohorts. Maybe they're going to bring their bombers in finally. Maybe they're going to bring all these things that we don't hear about. But they definitely are thinking along those lines. If they are not, and they are using this as a dry run to check the Americans' readiness, because they're not Americans, to check the American readiness as far as the troops, as far as deployment of law enforcement, things of that nature, then they'll have a good idea when they do in earnest attack the next time. The problem, as you know, has been for them, they are slowly cutting into their finances. They still have billions of dollars. Don't get wrong on the subject. Terrorism in the United States still has billions of dollars to work with. I think there was a group put out a report that was the Citizens for National Security down here in Palm Beach that showed 500,000 armed men for hire, meaning terrorist level operatives for hire in the area between us and Central America or Central South America. 500,000 rifles that they could call upon, meaning any foreign actor as they needed them. You don't need the sissy American socialists when you can hire all these other guys, right? You have plenty of people who came into the country in the last few years, all of which could do what they need to do. So you have that going on. The idea would be, of course, to create all this mayhem while things are still questionable in like Venezuela, things like that. They are still trying to play hell over in the United States military. You'll still see people, a lot of them are in the guards units, unfortunately, because we have a lot of respect for the guards units. Some guys are retired or almost retired. Junior officer types, probably assholes their whole career, but still, that's what's going on. And they're out there telling you the old World War I Russia thing, which is defect, comrade, join us, do not follow illegal laws. There's a lot of things that are getting into the mix now that you should be aware of. Now, when people do show you videos, which it's some angry looking kids from Atlanta that say that they're going to knock you the F out when you're getting your clothing in or your groceries in or whatever you're doing, could happen any day anyway. It's not like it's a special event. Don't get all excited. It's called situational awareness. Get a little bit more of it. I had some people came down here from New York. I wanted them to go home immediately since they did such a good job up there. And they're like, oh, I can sleep with my windows open here. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't unless you have a big dog, because that's the first way they enter the house, right? Anyone comes around here, if they see an open window at night, daytime, if you're in there and play music and shit, they're going to think about it, because you get inside the house, even the shit judges that we have in Broward County would have a hard time convicting you of murder if the guy comes through your window and is attacking you with a knife. They will try, of course, to get you down on murder, but it's going to be difficult. So throw that in there to shout out to Broward County, the best law money can buy. That's all I'll tell you about that. We are run by Democrats. We have been run by Democrats. Any town that says that they're not, in general, is a liar. Any town that tells you, oh, our conservative values, is usually not. And that's going to be the thing. We'll probably lose Florida with the next 2 election cycles because of the amount of grifting and the amount of guys that are just rhino pieces of shit. But that doesn't talk about what we're talking about. In a way, it does, though, because these rhino pieces of shit are also good at allowing the police not to do their job, which should be coordinating themselves with the governor's office, the state attorney general's office, and keeping up on where CAIR, CAIR, which is in Dade County for sure, and in Broward County under a different name, are operating. And this is the Muslim Brotherhood. We have lots of these things going on. I was trying to get a hold of a fella who's over near Tampa, who his group does very, very hard research on who's owned by who. Because as you see now, Rand Paul is out there with his father. His father's doing the concert tours because turn that off. Sorry about that, guys. His father's doing the concert tours because they realize his son's a piece of shit. Let's look at these other things with the votes in the Senate, right? Republicans are going over with the Democrats more and more. The McConnellites have showed themselves to be what they are, an extension of the Democrat Party. They are the team that played the Harlem Globetrotters all these years, right? While you and Ma Kettle were sitting around saying, those goddamn socialists, if only we could get a president in here who would help. And you get a president in, and you're like, that goddamn rapist, if only we could get him into jail and get Mitch McConnell into office, right? It's a fucking joke. But on what we're talking about, here's your thing. If you have SNAP benefits, if you are somebody who is so inclined or needs them, if you're on disability, I think the disability checks are going through, Social Security checks are going through, all that is going through. The EBT is the majority of the issue. And those of you who are older, and I know it's difficult for some of you, go to the local food bank, find out where they are, go in and you register. There is nothing wrong with it. COVID without, in South Florida, especially in my part of the county, if we didn't have the food banks, because we have a lot of people, even citizens that work like pretty much day labor and weren't allowed to work because people, once again, I said about rewriting history, you weren't allowed to work. There was work, but the county wouldn't let you go to it because the sheriff is a piece of shit. Oh, and he also murdered a guy when he was younger and lied about it and never was disqualified from holding office because of it. Yeah, right? So get on those programs. I would rather have you on those programs than somebody who's not supposed to be here. And you'll say, well, somebody who's supposed to be here would have $5,000 in EBT. Yeah, they would. But you gotta not worry about what other people have and worry about yourself and your family. It's going to be a hard row. We haven't even gotten through 1 year of the Trump administration. He's fighting an insurgency. Actually, he's a counterinsurgency. The insurgency was the coup to put Joe Biden in office. Trump is running a counterinsurgency against an entrenched enemy, an enemy to the United States citizen, to the Constitution, to everything, an enemy that's running around in a gray suit telling you everything's cool. When all is said and done 20 years from now, if any of us are alive, they will tell you that President Trump fought all these people with maybe 18 to 20 loyalists nationwide. Everyone will say they were a friend. Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Where is she? Matt Gaetz, where is he? You know, all these people that were on, Steve Bannon, right? It's amazing how when you don't get invited to the White House every day, you turn into a fucking scumbag. You're not supposed to get invited to the White House every day. You didn't win the office. He won the office. He's not a goddamn, real estate agent that's having an open house. You don't get to go all the time, anybody, unless you're working for him. And if he doesn't want to see you, he doesn't see you. Doesn't mean you turn around and become a traitor. What, for the next president who won't trust you? I wouldn't trust any of these guys. I have, if you go to our site, we did things on Laura Loomer, how she would crash and burn, which is exactly how she did crash and burn. We didn't cover him, but we covered a few of the other ones. And it's pretty easy to see what would occur. just from a straight psychological point of view. All right. So I know we're getting all over the place with it. It's maybe my 15th coffee. Shout out to Seed Coffee. Excellent. Not that you're going to go, but very good. It's The Seed. I'm sorry. THESEED. No, we don't get any money and we don't get any discounts. You got to buy $100 worth of shit to get a free cup of coffee. That's 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 uh that's progress. So anyway, take that to heart. Watch yourself for the first 10 days of this month coming up. If you live in the inner city, I would tell you to stay away from the wall. Why get that smoke, right? Don't go to the Walmarts. If you're an older person or a poor person, you can admit to being poor. Everyone's poor at some point or another, right? I mean, I'm not broke, but I'm not wealthy. If I was at that point, I would go to the food bank. Did it during COVID. No one was out there feeding me. Couldn't go to work. So take advantage of the things that are there. These other people that would rather go riot are also the ones that don't know how to cook rice and beans. They don't know how to make shit out of a can. If it doesn't come out of a bag from a store, they will starve to death. Now, that's not my fault. That's how they were brought up, right? Maybe we should acknowledge that people are being raised by wolves, right? They're the ultimate consumer machine. They are the apex consumer. They cannot do for themselves. They can only buy or steal. That is very disturbing. So, any questions, comments? Thumbs up, thumbs down. We have a thing we're putting together for all you Jew haters. That'll be coming up in another day or two, probably over the weekend. We have to see how this other thing goes on. But we are going to talk about a problem out there right now, which is plaguing the right and the left. And you can see us on Rumble, Rumble, YouTube, BitChute, Univision, Substack, our own site, www.southfloridaconservative.com. We are everywhere that we try to be. And we'll be coming to a gun show near you pretty soon. We're going to start going back to the old-fashioned way of newsprinting this because we want our message out to the people who actually have an interest in what we're talking about. So otherwise, have a good weekend. And I just had one of these Reese's candies for the kids with the little pretzel in it. Oh, man, I really don't feel good about giving this shit to the children. That's what they want, right? So talk to you later on.